Hello, guys, and welcome to Oddspedia Premier League 28th match day, Manchester Derby, and so many other things, of course, with Tom Rennie. Hello, Tom.
28. Are we really at match week 28 already? Unbelievable.
Summer is there. Summer is around the corner.
I can see my swimming shorts now. I look forward to doing Oddspedia on the beach all July.
Aren't you happy? Oh, yeah. There will be football games, so we will be here or doing other stuff.
We'll be somewhere.
Who knows? But right now, we are here to analyze this new match day, of course, with Tom, with every one of you. Leave your comments, your tips for this match day, and don't forget to press the like and subscribe. Now, let's go on with the show. '28 match day, but to be honest, not many teams have played 27 games still. And we have 10 games this match day, and this is completely new for us. So let's start for something new, actually. On Saturday, Leicester City Leeds, because Bielsa's Leeds was so bad, so appalling that they need a reaction, and they hire Jesse March, who was fired, by the way, this season also in Leipzig. So we are ready to see, I guess, a new Leeds, a new style playing against Leicester, who finally won a football game. And this is something weird. In midweek, they beat Burnley. What to do for this match day?
This is a tough one, a real tough one. I mean, on Leicester, firstly, I watched their game in the FA Cup in midweek against Burnley, and the great news for Leicester is that Jamie Vardy is back. The injury issues this season have been a joke for Leicester all season long. They made them very tough to watch for fans. They've been very tough to bet on for punters like us, because you know what you expect from Leicester if you go across the Brendan Rodgers years. And we've not had that this year. So they've been a real tough bet. And in fact, betting against Leicester has actually been quite good money, because they're usually quite short. They go into games favourites. They're a very good squad with a very good manager. And the fact that they go into this one at 1.75, 1.8, say 2-1, is reflective of that still. We still expect a lot of Leicester, even though the season on the whole has been pretty middling with 10 Premier League losses. So Jamie Vardy coming back is absolutely massive for Leicester. Defensive issues still there. Not expecting James Justin, not expecting Johnny Evans, not expecting Timothy Castagna, still no Fofana, Bertrand. That's basically the first choice defence minus Soyuncu missing again, as it's been all season for Leicester. So that's some variables there. For Leeds, Bielsa had to go. He had to go. Probably should have gone weeks ago. If they had continued playing under Bielsa in the way they played last weekend, they would be relegated. Leeds United, I've got no doubt about that. 3 goals or more conceded in every game in February. Bielsa, though, tremendous fun. And I love watching his teams, as we all do. He does come across naive. And I think that purist nature of Bielsa, here are my ideas and we're going to implement them, full stop, no further discussion. That's great until you start losing 3-4, 5-0 every week. And then you've got to have another idea. And Bielsa wasn't that guy. But he said that coming in, and it's a real shame he's had to go, but go he had to. The funny thing about Jesse Marsch is, if you look at his career from Salzburg and Leipzig, he's basically the same. He is a student of Bielsa and Rangnick and these managers who would rather win 5-3 than eke out a 1-0. And when you're battling relegation, eking out a 1-0 is kind of what you need to do a couple of times in order to stay in the division. Injury-wise for Leeds, big names out, but not many of them. Liam Cooper, Calvin Phillips, Patrick Bamford all missing. Apart from that, it's a reasonably full squad for Leeds United compared to what it's been in recent times. A couple of things to look out for here. Leeds at 4.5 to 5-1. That'll drift out to 5s by Saturday. That could be quite interesting, because this is going to be a game where Leeds players will A, want to impress their new manager, B, win for their former manager, and C, they've had more time off than Leicester, and they are still the hardest working squad in the country, whether Bielsa's gone or not. So 5-1, which this will drift out to, I think that's real decent. So firstly, at 4.5 to 5, Leeds is well worth a tip. That is well worth some of your money. Leicester at 1.75 to 2, I don't feel is worth it. The draw at 4s is quite nice as well. But I here be looking for a Leeds win. I like those odds. I like Leeds win. I like both teams score. I like this being above 2.5 goals, maybe even above 3.5 goals in the match. And also look out for goals from outside the area. There's two players who are specialists in this regard. James Maddison to score from outside the area, as he did against Burnley. That's around 6 to 7 to 1 this morning. Rafinha, the same, is around 10 to 1. So some nice bets in here. But if you pick a winner, I'd go Leeds.
Interesting. Good odds for that. Flip is going for both teams to score. The problem is that it doesn't pay much. With Bielsa, it's always kind of the same, no? He makes the best out of his teams the first year, and then they are kind of tired of him. I guess he's pretty intense.
Yeah,
we are more chill. We are more chill than Bielsa. Then Aston Villa, Southampton. Here actually also we have very good odds for Southampton. I'm surprised to see the Saints that high, actually 3.27, because they are in great form, as we saw also in the middle of the week in the FA Cup against West Ham. In the Premier League also unbeaten in the last 5. And on the other hand, Aston Villa, they beat Brighton, but it's kind of a roller coaster. It's difficult to trust this team.
Yeah, Villa's season petering out a little bit despite the victory last week. I think they're already thinking about next season. They're building for next season. It's all about assessment at this point for Steven Gerrard. Does he want Watkins and Ings, Watkins or Ings as a centre forward? What's the future of Coutinho? He's playing for a contract at Aston Villa. Is it going to be worth it? A first flourish was exciting, and now it's a bit like, do we want to spend 40 million euro on this guy? I don't know. There's lots of little issues around Aston Villa that makes me feel like, where's the motivation to win a game like this? For Southampton, they're one of the form teams in the country right now. And the great thing about Southampton is that they are heavy rotators. People were surprised on Wednesday when they changed 9 players for the West Ham game. I wasn't. They change 4, 5, 6 players most weeks, and then they make 3 subs or 5 subs, depending on the competition they're in, every game. Hasenhüttl has got an entire squad of 6 out of 10 players. But they never drop below 6. They don't often get above 6. 1 or 2, Ward-Prowse, Breuer, wouldn't go into that. But in general, they're consistent. And they get to 45 minutes, they've done their job. He expects full burnout from those players, and then he'll change them. And then next week, they might not play. And we're all like, oh, he's not playing his strongest team. Hasenhüttl's playing some sort of 3D chess with this team, that when we get 5 subs, 8 subs, 20 subs in football, which everyone seems to want because they hate themselves, this is what everyone will be doing. And the team that starts the game will be a different team to what finishes it. So it's tough to pick any individuals out for Southampton because they may well start with Adam Armstrong and Che Adams. They'll finish the game with Breuer and Shane Long up front. They'll rotate, they'll move it around. Same with the wingers. Same with pretty much everyone but James Ward-Prowse. At 3 to 1, the reason they're 3 to 1, Southampton, is because their form is so good. And if they score against you, you're in big, big trouble. And frankly, I wouldn't back Aston Villa against Southampton. I wouldn't back any mid-table team against Southampton. I certainly wouldn't back relegation strugglers against Southampton. And I don't think the issue that we spoke about a minute ago with Leicester playing in midweek will be an issue for Southampton, because they'll make another 5 to 7 changes for this game. So at 3 to 1, Southampton to win, let's not go crazy. Let's go for it. That's nice. Take it.
I knew you liked it. Rames is going all the way around. Aston Villa to win. They are coming to this game as favorites, 2.45, but we think the value is on the Saints. Then we have Burnley, Chelsea. Burnley, actually, they could got out of the relegation spots in midweek, but they lost against Leicester. Still, they are really alive. Say 7 points out of the previous 9, but now they are facing Chelsea. A lot of news, no, around Chelsea. Abramovich selling the club. They lost the EFL Cup final. What happened with Kepa's penalty? Have you found the ball?
I did walk up Wembley Way afterwards looking for it. I saw it smash through many a warehouse and greenhouse, but the ball is still to be found.
All right. And for this game, do you see Chelsea, this favorite, 1.5, or Burnley? They can be tough right now. Huh?
They can. I mean, look, at 1.4, 1.5, it's not worth your time, really, unless you're going to lay big. And how confident would you be in a Chelsea victory here? You lay big on low odds with Man City at home against Norwich. That's when you lay big. Chelsea at Burnley, I don't know. I mean, away games like this all year, Chelsea have won them, but they've struggled. You know, you look at even Luton in midweek in the FA Cup. You look at Brentford. You look at a couple of weeks ago against Crystal Palace. They have struggled in this game over and over and over again this season. So at those low odds, it isn't really worth your time. This is the kind of game where I'll be looking at the corners market because both teams play for corners. Burnley quite literally just play for corners. So look above 10 corners in this match. If you're going to go Chelsea win over 10 corners, that might make it a touch more interesting. But even that, I think, will be reasonably low odds, but it is low odds because that's what we would expect. For Burnley, they do the same thing in every game, but suddenly it started working, which is hold on for 0-0, get to the 80th minute, and then try and win it from there. If they've scored before that, it's all gravy. But if they haven't, that's when they'll push. The trouble is Leicester scored the second in midweek, and Burnley's push didn't happen in the end. I still think they'll stay out Burnley. Two scorelines here, the draw and Chelsea win. Double chance it, combine that with 10 corners. I still wouldn't go Burnley, even though they could, and 8-1 is very nice. I wouldn't put my money on it.
Would you go under, for instance, under 2.5 goals?
Definitely under. This is a definite under. At absolute best, the 2-0 Chelsea win. At absolute best. They do not score goals with the regularity they should, and not many score that many against Burnley. Definitely under.
Good odds for that, 1.88 under 2.5 goals. Then Newcastle, Brighton. I guess Newcastle fans have to be very happy, no? See now the standings in the last 5 games, 4 victories, 1 draw. The money is paying off, of course, and I'm also surprised to see these good odds for Newcastle to beat Brighton because Brighton, they are not in form. They are not drawing anymore. Actually, they are losing their games, and the odds suggest a draw, but I pretty much like, back in Newcastle here.
Yeah, Brighton have come off the rails massively, and they're not a team that I would suggest betting on a great deal. However, I know they've lost the last 3. I know, but those games, I think they're going to lead to a recovery from Brighton somewhere in this, and I still fancy them in this particular game. I mean, you look at the odds. Look at how even it all is. I mean, the bookies cannot split these two. Newcastle have got better. Newcastle are going to stay up. Newcastle made the right hire in Eddie Howe for the job they currently have. But still no Trippier, still no Saint-Maximin. They are not the finished article. They are bumbling their way to some sort of safety, which they will get. For Brighton, despite their recent issues, I still think that they've built on a very solid base. I still think they can score goals. And I think they'll be very pragmatic in this game to try and stop Newcastle. I went to Newcastle West Ham recently, and Newcastle themselves aren't risking it all to win Eddie Howe style. Eddie Howe at Bournemouth had this tactic I like to call charge. That when they were losing a game, he would just go, everybody forward, just everybody. And they would swarm over you like an 18th century battalion. And they would somehow be able to break down your barricades and win. That's what they did. This Newcastle team don't do that. So I would say go draw here at 3-1. That's quite nice. Draw, both teams score is very, very nice. Brings it to around 5s. Brighton win the first half. Newcastle win the second half. I quite like as well because I think Newcastle will come on strong as this game goes on. But they start slowly in a lot of games. But to be frank, it's going to finish 1-1.
How much you like the draws for Brighton, Flippy? First half draw, and Sarna is sending us love from India, love back to India, of course. Hello, India, hello. Then Norwich, Brentford.
That was like Eurovision. I like that. That was really good. Hello, India. This is London calling.
12 points for England. Then we have Norwich, Brentford. Wow, this is a massive game. Brentford only 3 points away from relegation. You've been saying the whole season. They are going to stay in the Premier League, but they have to win, I guess, this game, at least not losing it. 1 point out of the last 8 games for Brentford. And here we have high odds if we go for Norwich, something that you always suggest not to do, or if we go for Brentford, actually 2.7.
Well, look, I'm not changing it. I'm not changing the season-long policy because it's made me a lot of money this year betting against Norwich City, as I told you it would all season long. Already at 17 losses. I said at the start of the year, up to 30, maybe 32 losses. Dean Smith came in and changed that a little bit. But it's 17 losses. It'll end up with 23 to 25 losses, I would suggest. And they are going to go down bottom of the Premier League, whichever way you slice it. So I'm still going to bet on Norwich to lose because I think that's a sensible bet. Even though Brentford, they are not the team of pre-Christmas. Ivan Toney being injured for the last few weeks has been dramatically bad. That basically Brian and Mbeumo right now is carrying this club on his back and trying to get them over the line. Constant defensive issues. David Raya has come back more tentative than the goalkeeper we remember pre-injury. People like Christian Norgard struggling to get a hold of midfield in the same way they were earlier in the season. They're now being outrun. They're now being outfought. And everyone certainly realised at this point that they are Stoke. And they remember how to play against Stoke. And so they're defending as such. You sit a bit deeper. You bring tall blokes in to win headers. You win the second ball. Once you've done that, you've kind of beaten Brentford. The trouble is, I don't think Norwich will be able to do that. I'm still not a fan of Grant Hanley and Ben Gibson at this level at centre-half. Not good enough. Look, I think Rashica has played quite well. I think if you get Pookie a chance in the area, he will take 1 in 3. There's good things about Norwich, but I'm not changing it. I'm going to go, if you want to double chance it, absolutely fine. Draw is not an unlikely outcome here. It's going to be a slobber knocker of a game. I think you definitely go both teams score here. It's not going to finish 0-0 because they both have to win. If they settle for a 0-0, they're stupid in this game. You've got to risk it all to win. It's 3-pointers now that will get you safety. And they're both thinking about safety at this point. You can double chance Brentford with a draw and a win if you want. Personally, I'm going to continue with a season-long policy of Norwich to lose. But go above, I would say go above 2 goals in this game, above 2.5.
I love people sticking to their ideas. Good, Tom. We have these principles. We are not changing them.
Tom Bielsa.
Both like Bielsa, exactly. Both teams to score 2.04. Not bad odds at all. Probably we won't see many goals in the next one. Of course, Wolves, Crystal Palace. The race for the Champions League is over for Wolves. They lost to West Ham, to Arsenal. You don't agree?
No, I think they're still very much in it. I don't agree.
Yeah? Okay. Well, they have to win this one, and it won't be easy. With Palace, only 1 defeat in the last 5 games, and was a short one against Chelsea. You still fancy Wolves then?
Got easy-ish games compared to those around them. West Ham, for example, playing Liverpool this weekend. Man United playing Man City. Wolves have got Crystal Palace. Now I think it's Burnley. Then another team that are down there as well. I haven't got the fixtures in front of me, but I know it's a reasonably easy run they have. Look, Wolves last week were well in the race. 2 losses against Arsenal and West Ham were pretty devastating, but they're still very much in it with a game in hand. 7 points behind Man U. Win this week. Man United lose, and they win their game in hand. Well back in the race with 9 games to go. So they absolutely can. The trouble is they're so despicable to watch, Wolves. Like, not only are they really boring and really negative and really conservative, but also you can't say the word on this show, but it's outhousery at its finest. Like, they pretend one bloke's getting subbed and the other bloke's getting subbed. They waste time from the moment they score a goal. They slow the game down. They just do whatever they can to break it up. They're a horrible watch. If you're not a Wolverhampton Wanderers fan, I don't see how anyone in the world would want to watch them right now. They're just a disaster in terms of entertainment to watch. I'm sure fans are enjoying it, but the way they play, it's very anti-football. And they don't score many goals, which may well be their undoing. For Crystal Palace, turned the form round recently with some good results, good performances. Still like Conor Gallagher, Elise, Zaha, Eze's coming back, Eduard, even Benteke. The offense is great. The defense has struggled. And that's where the summer investment has to come from Crystal Palace. Centre-half doing okay, Anderson and Gay, but the fullbacks, nowhere near the required quality. And that's key area for a team who plays 4-3-3. The fullbacks have got to be good, and currently they're not great offensive fullbacks. That all being said, I think Palace can do this. I just like their attack. And I think that the Wolves' backline is slow. It is slow, and they sit deep, and that's what makes the games often so turgid. But Palace have got goal scorers and match winners all over the field. So firstly, the draw at 3's nice. Palace to win at 3.5, very nice. Palace to win and Wilfried Zaha to score in this game, scored 2 in the game against Watford away from home recently. Very, very nice as well. And I just always like Palace in these games. I know the away record has not been good this year, like in my mind it should be. But with their offensive threat and recent good performances, and Wolves might feel as you do they're out of the race, it could prove a difference maker. I'd go low scoring. I would certainly be looking at no more than 2.5. I'd be looking at maybe a 1-0 win either way. If Wolves score first, you might as well go home. But if Palace score first, they win. And I think they will.
So you fancy Wolves to be in the race for the Champions League, but you fancy them to lose?
Well, I said they're still in it today. They might be out of it by Sunday.
Okay. And their 2 goals pays around 2.0. So if there is a 1-0, either way, you are correct and you get your money. Then the last game we have on Saturday, very good one. Of course, the late kickoff in Anfield, Liverpool, West Ham, not good time not to go to Anfield. Right now, they are winning every single game, 11 consecutive victories in all competitions. If we count the final, of course, as a victory, even in the penalty shootout. What to say also about West Ham out of the FA Cup, but a massive victory against Wolverhampton. We saw, I guess we all remember, right, Tom, the previous game between these two teams in the London Stadium, West Ham, Liverpool. Good memories to you.
Yeah, I was there. It was fantastic. It was a great day. Part of what's been whatever happens with West Ham from now on, it has been a really good season. Really good season. Could have been a great season. Could still be a great season. I mean, if they get past Sevilla in the Europa League, it's going to be an incredible season, whatever happens from that point. But for Liverpool, I was at the final at the weekend, and I think that they had good spells, good moments, but certainly didn't dominate that game against Chelsea. And I think if it weren't for some dodgy refereeing decisions, Chelsea would have won the Carabao Cup. But, we are where we are. The penalties were fantastic. But the difference right now for Liverpool is Luis Diaz. Incredible signing. That's the 3rd time I've seen him at the weekend. And, I mean, he just tore Chelsea apart, ripped them apart. And he had to come off it at extra time in the end because of the sheer amount of work that he'd put in that game. And so they can rotate up front, Liverpool, which they 2 years ago when they won the league couldn't do. If they don't play Mane in this game, that's okay because Luis Diaz is here. Jota came back, so if they want to rest Mo Salah, they can. They won't rest Mo Salah, but you know what I'm saying? They have options up front when previously they didn't. When Firmino comes back, it's 5 into 3. Very, very strong. Defense is very strong. So if Joel Matip has an issue, Ibrahim Konate comes on. He was the best player in the Champions League a couple of weeks ago. So they can rotate there. Apart from fullback, they can pretty much rotate everywhere at the moment, Liverpool. And I think they will from the game last week. For West Ham, tough times recently because, the squad is so thin. The bench hasn't been good enough. David Moyes doesn't trust his bench. He's got his first team. His first team stopped firing. So what David Moyes does when the first team stops firing is he goes 3 at the back and tries to eke out results. That's why that Wolverhampton Wanderers game last week was so tough to watch because it was 2 real negative lineups. David Moyes went 3 at the back with Pablo Fornals playing at left wing back, who, the hardest working player in the business, but it's not a left wing back. You do it for you, but you lose his great intricate passing forward when you do that. I think West Ham will stick to that, even though they lost against Southampton playing it in midweek, but 2 great goals and a dodgy penalty, I don't think will dissuade David Moyes from doing it. Hopefully Soucek will be back after getting elbowed in the face for no punishment by Diallo against Southampton in midweek. But look, I just don't see a scenario West Ham win. I think a lot of eyes are on Sevilla next week. I think getting injured now and missing Sevilla away would be devastating for some of these players. I think other clubs would rotate here. David Moyes won't, but other clubs would play the likes of Nikola Vlasic, the most useless signing of last summer. They might play someone like Benrahma, who's not been in the team. They might rest someone like Kurt Zouma, who simply must play in the Champions League. They might rest Antonio, who simply must play. Rice and Soucek too, but they can't because the squad isn't there. So West Ham will go first team. I think West Ham will put a heck of an effort in, but they will lose. They will lose without scoring, I would suggest. If there is to be goals in this game, I would suggest corners. These are the 2 best corner scorers in the Premier League, Liverpool and West Ham. West Ham, another one in midweek in the FA Cup. Liverpool, of course, won in the game against Leeds, the 6-0 win. I think Liverpool win. I wouldn't go too dramatic. I wouldn't Asian handicap it. I wouldn't go any higher than 3-0. but Liverpool win without conceding.
Yeah, the odds are quite low, of course. For Liverpool, 1.35. Both are playing in Europe next week. Inter and Sevilla, as you are saying. Corne, no, who? Stu is saying as Diaz will terrorize either Johnson or Kofol, and Salah likewise with Creswell. Well, we have to see how this works at Anfield. Very good game, of course, this Liverpool-West Ham. And on Sunday, we have two more games. Watford-Arsenal. Watford, at one point, they need to get points from other team apart from Man United. 4 points they got from Man United, actually not bad this season. 3 points away from safety, so it is still doable. What is not sure is if they can do it, no? Against Arsenal right now, they are the favorites to be in this top 4 after the last victories against Wolves twice and against Brentford. What can we expect in this game? Do you trust Arsenal? Odds are low. Probably not worth going there.
I mean, it's not worth it, but I'm not going to take Watford.
No.
I mean, they're just... Look, Roy Hodgson has come in and maybe with a full season might have found a way to bludgeon their way to 38 points. He's come in too late. I think that what they have is a brilliant attacking trio who they need to build the team around, being Emmanuel Dennis, being Josh King, and being Ismail Assar, who have shown great link-up play in the games that I've seen them together. Trouble is the midfield is quite poor. I think Sissoko's work rate is epic, but his passing is diabolical. And the other people they can put in there, Tom Cleverley, bang average championship player, defense is weak, and the goalkeeper, makes the occasional good save, makes a howler every week. Ben Foster, God bless him, at 38, YouTube superstar and part-time goalkeeper. So I think that Watford, their best chance of winning is to make attack their best form of defence. I don't think they will. That's not what Hodgson does. I think for Arsenal, I saw them recently against Wolves where they were frustrated the entire game, but stuck to what they wanted to do, stuck to their game plan. And I think that Arteta is getting a lot right. I think Lacazette, again, his effort is superb. Some Arsenal fans don't rate him, but I think he's very, very good. I think with Ødegaard in good form, I think Smith Rowe coming in as an option. I think the form of Bukayo Saka, I think the settled back line, all of that. Arsenal win this. This is not the old Arsenal. This is Arteta's current Arsenal. They go there, they win, they don't concede. Arsenal 2-0, minimum win. That's it.
Arsenal to win 2-0. Then is your tip. And on Sunday, we have the Manchester Derby. Let's see if Man City, they are playing with one goalkeeper or with two, as we saw in the previous game with Everton. And that handball from Rodri with this United, that there are not many positive things to be said about them. Can we see a smashing result, Man City to bully, to humiliate their neighbours?
I don't think it's going to be the same as the game at Old Trafford because Man United now have a proper manager and not just someone from the fan club, which they had in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think they have a really competent boss in Ralf Rangnick. Look, let's start with Man United because they're, the more interesting team here in terms of what has Rangnick brought. He's brought a professionalism to Manchester United, and I think he's brought a real focus to the players because now you've got a manager who is so tactically astute that he is respected by some of the best coaches in European football. And he's come in with a couple of formations, couple of game plans, and they had, 22 shots against Watford last week and couldn't score. What can Rangnick do about that? He gets the ball to Cristiano Ronaldo in the penalty area and Ronaldo don't score. What can he do with that? Ronaldo hits the post. How's that? He plans for Ronaldo to score. Otherwise, why are they paying Ronaldo £1 million a week or whatever it is? So the question for me is what the manager does. Ronaldo is a problem and he should be dropped. His scoring is nowhere near good enough for Man United. His performance is nowhere near good enough. And I don't care if people think that's sacrilege or not. Look at the last 9 games and tell me it's worth it. It's not about work rate. It's about quality. Quality's not there and doesn't work with this Man United team. Pogba's got to start. Pogba's crucial to Man United and what they can do with Ralf Rangnick. I'll be playing Pogba, Fred and McTominay as a midfield 3. Don't know about the availability of McTominay, but Fred and Pogba should be available. Rashford should be nowhere near this team. Jadon Sancho should play. If Cavani can play up front, he's the man who should start up front. If not, probably will be Ronaldo. And defensively, get Maguire out of there. It's Varane and Lindelof. That's the best 2. Shaw's got to come back in at left back. And I would continue to play Diogo Dalot at right back because Wan-Bissaka can't get forward. That's the Man United team. For Man City, it wasn't easy last week against Everton. As you say, they should have drawn the game. That was a definite penalty, but how VAR doesn't give a penalty like that. We can't fathom it because we've all seen it on video replay, and there's nobody that's not biased towards Man City who thinks that was not a penalty. So didn't play well in the game. Didn't play well really against Peterborough in the FA Cup in midweek as well. But look, it's Man City. Man City will dominate the ball. Man City will dominate the game. Man United might well keep them out until half-time. So maybe go draw at half-time. But Man City win. Man City win by scoring at least 2 goals. I can't see Manchester United even scoring in this game. There's a few triple chances here. Maybe go for a lineup of scores. 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, all for Man City. Get that for about 4-1. That's what I'd be looking at.
Ankur is telling us a screenshot. My comment, Man United will beat Man City. To be honest, that will be great for the title race.
Yeah, we would love that to happen. It'd be brilliant.
Exactly.
I can't. Yeah, I'm not gonna predict that here, I'm afraid.
Odds are very good, Ankur, if you trust yourself, of course. 9.6. There is no point of backing Man City unless you go with a very high stake, which is always very risky. And Manchester Derby, let's finish the video with the game we have on Monday. This is drama with Conte angry. He's not even confident in himself out of the FA Cup against Middlesbrough. I don't want to see Conte angry. Next to me, far away. Antonio Conte, you scared the shit out of me. And now they are facing Everton, and Everton on Monday, they can be in the bottom 3, actually. So it can play, negatively in their minds. What to expect here?
What to expect with Tottenham Hotspur? I mean, I wrote a tweet on Tuesday after their FA Cup loss. And I would recommend this to a point to all of our viewers. Never, ever, ever bet on Tottenham Hotspur. Just don't do it because there's no way of knowing. You beat Man City, you lose to Middlesbrough, you lose to Burnley, and you win another game that you think, wow, what a result, what a team. Look, Tottenham have all the ingredients to be a good top 6 team at the moment. I think losing Bentancur is a bit of a blow, but Kulusevski's been a revelation. Kane is scoring. Son is playing well. I like Romero. Lloris is making saves. They have deficiencies, players that maybe shouldn't be there, players that maybe aren't good enough. But there is enough there for Tottenham. But for whatever reason, I think it's just got to be confidence and consistency. It isn't clicking regularly for them. And every result seems to really damage the players, damage the next performance. But then the positive results don't then give a positive boost to the next performance. And I think that tells me these players at this time are not quite gelling with Antonio Conte. You've got to buy into Antonio Conte, lock, stock and barrel, 100%. And I doubt that with some of these players. I even doubt it with Harry Kane. I'm not too sure how much he wants to play for Antonio Conte in this team with these players playing this way. We'll see. We'll see as this season goes on. But, you can't possibly predict them because at one point they're incredible, defensively sound, incredibly well organised. The Man City game. In the Burnley game, they didn't look up for the fight. And same story for Middlesbrough as well. So maybe it was because it was a big, high-profile game, whereas the others aren't. I don't know. For Everton, big worries for me. Big worries. People have said that they have improved under Lampard. I don't think so. I've not seen any improvements. I think still having no Yerry Mina leaves Michael Keane at centre-half, who's just been woeful all season. Another howler from him against Man City last week cost Everton. I think Doucouré might be back in midfield, but again, coming back from injury, how fit is he going to be? The central midfield for Everton is so flat and so slow and so lacking in athleticism without him. It's a massive blow. Good news for them that Spurs are vaguely similar in that regard. And up front, Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin, still not quite doing it, still not quite fit, still not quite firing. Big concerns. I think they could go down. Everton. I think they're in massive, massive trouble. I don't see who they're going to beat and how they're going to win. I'm not too sure about their managerial appointment either. Hardest game of the week to pick, I would suggest. I'd go low. I'd go low scoring, mainly because of the extreme lack of confidence of both of these teams. I would be looking at 1 or 2-0, absolutely max, either way. I would certainly be looking for draw at half-time. I'd certainly be looking at over 6 corners, 3 each in the match, over 10 in the match in its entirety, maybe 6 before half-time. And I might just shade on a Tottenham win. But at 1.5, it's not really worth your time. But Draw at 4.2 is interesting. Wouldn't go Everton for the reasons I've already outlined.
Even under 2.5 goals, as you are highlighting, is good enough, actually. It's 2.14. The bookies expect goals. In the north of London, this is drama. What to happen, no? If Everton goes down. Still many weeks to go. Then this is it. Tom, we made it again. Wow, this went quickly. Poker Factory is welcome me back. Only 1 week away, not that much. Then, Tom, let's go with your ACCA for this weekend.
So I've gone with the trio again. I like a trio. They're coming quite well across the season. 2 big wins. Arsenal will win against Watford. Man City will win the Manchester derby. And I'm still sticking with Brighton draws, even though it's been 3 losses in a row. I think they'll go to Newcastle and get a draw. That is quite a nice ACCA at 8-1.
Yep. High odds, actually. This time for your ACCA. Tom, this is it. This is it. It was nice to see you again. I will see you, hopefully, next week.
See you next week.
Thanks, everyone, for watching us always. And don't forget to press the like and subscribe. Goodbye, guys. See you soon.